fantasy. You like football, so come check out something neato. It's the Fantasy Football.
And welcome everybody to another episode of the Fantasy Football Burrito. I am your host, as always, Dirt Shingleberry, and joining me is the only other man who has the stones to run a fake 23 blast with a backside Georgia reverse, Scott Zipperman. How you doing today, Zip?
Hey, I'm doing great. I have no idea what that meant, but I thought it sounded fun. Also, giving myself a middle name, it's Skip.
So
my nickname is Skip. I'm Zip the Skip. You know what I mean?
Zip the Skip. All right, that one almost broke me.
Well, yes. Also, I have another name. It's I'm the least confident fantasy football expert. So I'm just putting that out there. I am not confident in my opinion whatsoever.
Well, let me also say that with some of the stuff that I've seen you do in the past year or two with your fantasy football team, for being the least confident, you have the biggest stones out of most people that I know.
It's all for the sake of it's all in the desire of searching for the most random thing that could turn out successful.
Well, usually 9 times out of 10, I would say that it turns out successful for you, because I believe last year I saw you run use the Giants defense whenever they were just getting blown out by every team. I think you used them against the Buccaneers because Jameis Winston was throwing all those interceptions. You're like, well, I'm bound to get some points, and I think you did.
I have very little memory, but that sounds about right.
Well, all right, so we're gonna get into some news right now. We're gonna go ahead and just talk about what's been happening the last week in the NFL. So let's start off with the big one, the one that hit everybody. Patrick Mahomes signs a 10-year, $503 million contract. The Chiefs lock up their star 24-year-old quarterback for the next 10 years.
Money man, that's a dream come true for him. $500 million.
Yeah, he becomes the richest North American sports player, or richest sports player in North American history with that contract. He beat out Mike Trout's like $400 and something million contract from last year. And we finally have a football player making more money than a baseball player.
Yeah, we thought it would never happen, but here it has. 2020 is a wild year.
So with that being said, does that extension with Mahomes, how much does that impact Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott? Do you think Dak's going to get around Patrick Mahomes' money, or what do you think he's looking at?
I doubt Dak will for some reason, but I expect Lamar will probably, he could top it maybe. Maybe Dak will. That'll be, who knows at this point. That is the trend of once one contract goes, it just gets higher and higher and higher. So someone's going to get more money. Yeah,
I don't know if anybody in recent history or in like close history will get it, because Patrick Mahomes is a once in a generation talent, and maybe Lamar Jackson might get it just because he's young as well. He's only like 22 and he's already won an MVP, but Dak Prescott maybe will get close to him in yearly salary. He might become the second highest paid quarterback in yearly salary, but he's not going to get the $50 million a year that Mahomes is getting.
Yeah, that's probably true. What an exciting time though to have all these young MVP quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, it's the young quarterback talent in the NFL right now is fun. I mean, you've seen the torch getting passed off where people like Drew Brees and Brady and Rodgers are going lower in your fantasy drafts, and everybody's trying to go after the Kylers, the Lamars, the Mahomes, the Deshaun Watsons and stuff like that.
There's been a real flip.
Mm-hmm. It's great. Okay, so the next thing on our news is Raheem Mostert requested a trade from the 49ers.
Huh. Good for him.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know. I don't see. For some reason, it doesn't feel like anything's going to happen.
No, he's coming off a career year in a very running back friendly system, and his only issue, he's not unhappy with the team as a whole. What he's unhappy with is they won't bring his salary close to where Tevin Coleman's is.
Isn't he still being? I read somewhere that he's being paid special teams money.
Yeah, because Mostert was signed off to play special teams, so he's making pretty minimum money.
Yeah, and he's playing the most damaging position. It takes the most toll on your body, it seems.
Yeah.
He does deserve his money, for sure. If he's going to play that position, give him, running back money to some extent.
I am curious to see what does happen because the 49ers just traded Matt Breida to the Dolphins earlier this offseason and, leaving Mostert and Coleman to take the most of the carries, the blunt of the carries. Is that the right one?
That works. The bulk of the carries.
Bulk of the carries, thank you.
I love Winco.
But now you have to think, is Jerick McKinnon healthy enough? Because if Jerick McKinnon's healthy, then you can get you could get him cheap in fantasy leagues. That's what I was trying to get at. Is and if you are in Dynasty and you have Tevin Coleman, what I would do now is either try to trade him for something big. Try to go to a team who, if you're not yourself running back needy, trade him to a team that is, and try to get something good out of him.
For sure.
And if you can, try to get Jerick McKinnon real cheap.
Right, because Jerick McKinnon has that mystery still attached to him. He could break out and be something we haven't seen before, and that's exciting. Yeah,
he was really good in Minnesota whenever he got the chances, and you always wanted to see it in that Kyle Shanahan offense.
Yeah, and they signed him when he first got there, right? So they had plans for him.
Yeah, and he became one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL whenever he signed that deal.
Yeah, it's a real shame. He got injured twice. I hate when that happens. I just want to see the player play, have fun.
Absolutely. So the next thing on our news is the Big Ten and the Pac-12, and probably more conferences to follow, cancel their non-conference schedule. They're only going to be playing, I don't know if that means that they're only going to be playing the 8 games they do play in conference, or if they're going to give their other 4 games to do a full 12 season. But yeah, it's pretty, not good to see for if you're a college football fan and want a full NFL or full NCAA season.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen. I have not been keeping up on that, but
I've also heard that they're thinking about moving it to spring, so that also might impact the fact that players that are Sherlock first rounders, top 5 picks like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Field, Penei Sewell from Oregon, the offensive lineman, they might not even play, just not even to risk it.
Yeah, seriously. And then how does that impact the draft and everything?
From what I've been reading is they're not expected to change the draft schedule. So even if they move to spring, the players will probably still get drafted, play their full season, and then probably right after their season's over, report to training camp.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of football. And then probably the biggest news that most of us are following as well is the Washington Redskins have agreed to remove all Native American imagery. And the report came out on Monday that they have decided to retire the name. And so the Washington Redskins are no more.
I love it.
It's about time. I was thinking that it's a little, I don't like that they're calling it retiring the logo.
Yeah.
They're scrapping it. Like it shouldn't get the send off of retiring. But I bet you the only reason why they're saying that is because, they're probably still keeping the patent and the copyright on it. So, you don't have a South Park situation on your hands.
Oh yeah, for sure. Fancy lingo, no reason.
Exactly. But, I'm excited to see the names that come out of it. I see that the main leader right now is the Red Wolves, but that also tells me that it's probably not going to be the Red Wolves because nobody actually goes with what we want.
Right, yeah. Red Wolves just seems a little too generic for some reason. Like one of the teams you could make on like Madden.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen all sorts. I love that someone jokingly was like, just call them the Washington Americans. And I was like, that is a good way to totally switch it. Where it was disparaging Native Americans, and now it's like, yeah, they were here first.
Yeah, just keep the same
Americans. Either way, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm glad they're keeping the color scheme, as I said on the last episode. Zip is a big fan of that burgundy and gold.
Those are good color schemes. Well, that pretty much wraps up our news section. Whenever we get back from our break, we're going to go ahead and jump in to our top 12 running backs. It's going to be revisited because I gave mine earlier. We're going to revisit it with Zip, who I take as the most risk taker fantasy football player. He says he's the less confident, but don't let him fool you. That's all part of his ploy.
No, it's all true. I have fun, but I'm scared all the time.
All right, guys. So we'll be right back after this break.
Football.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Dirt and Zip Show, the Fantasy Football Burrito. We are going to be going over our top 12 running backs right now. We're going to revisit the position with Zip to join in. Skip Zip.
Skip Zip.
Then we have one fan question this week, thankfully. And sorry, I'm looking at Zip laughing at me in the computer screen right now.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at everything.
But all right, so we're just going to dive in. We have one honorable mention, somebody who could have easily made both of our lists, but we decided to leave him out. And, I'm actually second guessing this because I did a little bit more research on him.
I almost wanted to put him on there.
So we are going to go with Austin Eckler as both of our honorable mentions. Let's just say he's running back 13 for us for these purposes.
Yes, with the possibility of rising very high.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't, if I left a draft with Austin Eckler as my number one back, I wouldn't be upset about it.
Yeah. It would be, if you're like at that 11, 12 snakes swing,
Yeah.
You take any back pair with him would be enticing.
Yeah, I would say Austin Eckler right now in most drafts is going, his ADP's at round 2, pick 3. So he's going around the turn. He's an undrafted free agent out of Western State, Colorado. The college,
heard of it.
It's a college that's only had one other NFL player. I was looking at their Wikipedia page today, and yeah, so he just plays with a chip on his shoulder. He was brought in there to be the third down backup to Melvin Gordon, and now here we are a couple years down the road, and Melvin Gordon's gone, and Austin Eckler's the one that got the extension. Yep,
and he had how many games over 15 points last season?
How many?
10.
10. That's crazy.
That's most of it as a backup, second half of the season. But yeah, I was looking over his stats. He was at one point number 8 on my list.
Yeah, and he had. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you go.
I would say he had a couple weeks there where I was looking at his consistency chart, and there was 3 out of the first 4 or 4 out of the first 5 weeks he was a running back 1, and some weeks even finishing as the running back 1.
Yeah, so now we get the unquestioned season, full length season, see what he can do.
Absolutely.
I would be more than happy to have him on my team.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just dive in with my number 12, and my number 12 for you guys might be a little bit of a surprise, but I'm going with Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Wow.
He is part of that Chiefs offense that we just love so much. He's coming in as a rookie. He had a dominant college final season in college football. He rushed for 1,400 yards, 16 touchdowns. He caught 55 passes out of the backfield and another 450 yards. If he can bring that versatility to the Chiefs offense, you got to watch out.
It's true, yeah. Zip does not blame you for putting a rookie on your top 12 running back list. He's often been compared to Mr. Brian Westbrook, and that's an exciting thing to hear. So for sure, get him if you can.
And when Brian Westbrook was so dominant, who was his head coach?
Oh, Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, that's right. So if you're going to get a comparison to probably the best running back Andy Reid's ever had, maybe besides Shady McCoy, it's the perfect head coach running back situation, perfect quarterback to get him the ball. He's going round 2, pick 10. So he's going later in drafts than most the rookie running backs we see during this time whenever there's a bunch of hype. But he was a first round pick for a reason. I would look forward to seeing him in that offense.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame anyone who took him with their first round pick outside of the top 5 running backs. But yeah, exciting times. My number 12 is he was a rookie last season. Is Josh Jacobs. It's a little surprising even for myself to have him so low because I originally had him higher, and then I just kind of softened on him as I did more of my research and whatnot. But the main thing that kept him at number 12 for me is just the shakiness of the Oakland offense. You never know what they're going to do, and it just kind of made me nervous. The little zip nerves, and so. He fell to 12, but the thing that almost kept him above some of these others coming up is the fact that he is pretty much the guaranteed full-time back.
Yeah, the only thing you have to worry about is Jalen Richard as he's going to be the third down passing situation back.
Yeah, I don't foresee that being an issue. I bet they would work Josh Jacobs into the passing game. Why not? He showed he could do it. I'm hoping for that anyways. That's what I would like.
And I'm just going to say this now. You said Oakland. They are now the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I'll probably be doing that for a while. I'll take me some time to switch my brain over.
Yeah. All right. So number 11 for me is Mr. Chris Carson.
Ooh.
I am a big fan of Chris Carson. As the full-time running back for Seattle, a team that just loves to run the ball down the throat of their opponents to set up the passing game. He only played in 15 games last year. I think he got injured in that 15th game. So he played in 14 and a half. He ran for 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, and they were getting him the ball more in the passing game. He actually caught 37 passes last year. So I'm not worried about Carlos Hyde coming in because I feel like that's more of an insurance for Rashad Penny, maybe not coming back from his ACL injury as fast. But I'm going to talk about ADP a lot in this one because that's one thing I love about a running back that you can get late. You can get Chris Carson in most drafts. The average draft position for him is round 3, pick 12. So you could get him as your second running back. You can get him as after your first running back after you already get 2 stud receivers. And he's a safe pick, He's slowly getting closer and closer to playing a full 16-game season. And when he's on the field, he's Marshawn Jr. He's dominant.
Yeah, it's just the injuries that have kept him from being a top running back. But every time he gets on the field, he is doing something.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. He's not on my top 12, but he easily could be. He was definitely one of the overall 15 backs I considered for this list.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the take. I love the placement. Congratulations. My number 11 is probably going to shock you, and I feel weird even having him so low because he's clearly one of the most talented backs. That's Aaron Jones.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. This list I've been sitting on for a week. He could maybe switch with this next player, but they're interchangeable. Aaron Jones at number 11. I'll stick with it. That's low, but
are you afraid of Jamal Williams or AJ Dillon?
Oh, maybe a little bit. There is that the committee that the fact that the coach came out and said he wanted to add another running back. I believe. Yes, I do believe that's more for future insurance, but why not incorporate it if you can?
I feel like saying you want to run a committee is just coach talk. I've heard a lot of coaches say, I want a committee, I want a two-headed monster, and there's not a lot of offenses who really support it. There's very few that can actually complete that.
That's true. I mean, also the key to their success is to unlock Aaron Jones completely. So I just don't know why you don't do that.
# free Aaron Jones.
Right. Yeah. Aaron Jones. This is not a due to his talent or anything. He's clearly the future. We'll see.
Okay, so number 10 for me is your number 12, Josh Jacobs. I'm really high on this player right here. For Las Vegas, an offense that should be up and coming with Darren Waller emerging, with Henry Ruggs coming in, with Tyrell Williams kind of taking over that number 1 receiver after the mishap with AB. As long as Derek Carr can get the ball downfield, Josh Jacobs should have a good year. He, as a rookie, he only played in 13 games and he rushed for 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. So if he can get a full 16-game season in him, get healthy from, I believe it was his shoulder that was hurting him or his back.
Yeah, I believe his shoulder.
He comes back healthy. I mean, he was the number 1 running back out of last year's draft class for a reason.
Yes. Yeah. I would love to see him get more involved in the passing game. You and I, we play mostly half PPR.
Yeah, 0.5 PPR.
And he definitely is more. His season was more tailored towards the standard play, I'd say. So I want to see that half PPR come out of him.
Yeah, how do you
go higher on my list?
How do you view Josh Jacobs in dynasty format? Where's he on? I know I'm kind of spurring this on you.
Complete flip. I love him.
Yeah, so say you almost took him at pick 4 or 5 in our.
Oh yeah, I considered it, and I'm happy with what I went with. But yeah, that would have been exciting to have him. He's 21, and he is the bell cow back or whatever. And I would take him early in dynasty. Redraft, I'm a little nervous.
Okay. All right, so that's number 10 for you now.
Number 10. He's these two. He's high. He's low on my list due to the same reasons Aaron Jones was, and that's Nick Chubb. It's just the committee. The committee. With Nick Chubb though, there is a Kareem Hunt who I feel like is more guaranteed like target share than the other situation. But I also just like Nick Chubb. These two players, man. Who do you think's better, Nick Chubb or Aaron Jones? You probably got.
Oh, well, I have Aaron Jones higher on my rankings. Not by much, but that's a tough one because
That is tough.
Chubb, since he came in the league, he's gotten the workload after the Browns traded Carlos Hyde,
Right.
and he did nothing but like if you take. I remember I was doing this math last year, and if you take the pace of yards that he was on last year, whenever he took over in like week 6 or something like that, and you put his final total into a 16 games, he would have rushed for like 1,600 yards his rookie year.
Oh yeah, dude. When I had him as my, and that's maybe why he's higher on my list, is because I had him that one year.
Yeah,
he almost propelled me to the playoffs. So I got a soft spot for him, but he's lower due to the Kareem Hunt situation. But I just think he'll.
Well, I'll just go right in because Nick Chubb's actually my number 9.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I do like Nick Chubb a lot. I mean, like I said, I was saying if you plug in his average from his rookie year into a full 16 game season, well, last year he got the full 16 game and he ran for just under 1,500 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That offense added Jack Conklin, it added Jedrick Wills. Joel Bentonio is another one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. So as long as they can get protection, and he has those outside receivers of Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and Austin Hooper just got added. You can't stack the box against the Browns because and Chubb can catch the ball out of the backfield, so it's not like if they put Chubb in, they're running it. If they put Kareem Hunt in, they're passing it. Both those backs are very talented. Both those backs can kill you. And
interchangeable.
So, I mean, I'm not going to go out on a limb here and say that the Browns are going to go and win the AFC and go crazy like we were last year, but they have the talent on the offensive side to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they add their new head coach is Kevin Stefanski, who was the offense coordinator for the Vikings last year. And what do the Vikings like to do? They run the ball. So I could see a road that leads to Nick Chubb being the number 1 back in fantasy, or at least top 5. But just for our purposes right now, trying to guess this out in July, I'm going to leave him at 9.
Hey, and that's a solid place for him. Okay, number 9 for me is another solid player, Miles Sanders. He's not on your list, I know. I have the intel. But he's on mine. And he's number 9 for some reasons. I like him as a player. We know what he can. We've seen what he can do. He should be the unquestioned starter coming into this season. They haven't signed anyone as of yet, and that's exciting. You last episode called him Saquon 2.0 or something.
Yeah, he's Saquon Jr. He's Saquon Light.
Jr. Yeah, so he could. I mean, why not? Who wouldn't want a full season of that potential?
I'm excited to see a full season of Miles Sanders.
Exactly, yeah. The only hang-up is that offense. It was pretty bad besides him and some other things, but they got some new talent. Hopefully some of it clicks and can open up the game for everyone, including Mr. Sanders. But that's really the only hang-up I have with him.
How mad would you be if it comes out tomorrow or the next day that the Eagles signed Devontae Freeman?
Yeah, well, then he would pretty much – I probably wouldn't have my eye on him as much. But
it just seems like an Eagles move to do. I don't know why.
It does, yeah. No, I mean, that's what everyone's expecting. I think we're all pretty surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Maybe that means they're really excited to have a full season of him.
Yeah. So number 8 for me is I have him a lot lower than most people do, and I get a lot of slack for this, but Derrick Henry.
I will boo that slightly.
Yeah, I know. He had an amazing last year. He had a good final 4 games of the year before, but I don't think Ryan Tannehill is the answer there at quarterback. So there's only so many tackles Derrick Henry can break before, he breaks, before he gets some sort of injury or, he just has so many people lined up in the box against him that he can't run it. Now, if they had a better quarterback that could get the ball to A.J. Brown every single game, they had another receiver opposite of A.J. Brown that could actually catch the ball, that'd be a different story. But for the Derrick Henry is the Titans offense, and you love to see that volume, but I just don't trust the player as much. And
Yeah, you're scared by the offensive play.
yeah, and I would be happy to be wrong about him.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not one of these people that are going to take him in the first 5 picks of a draft, but if he fell to me, back into the first round, I'd take Derrick Henry and be happy with it.
Right, yeah. And then watch, that's how it's going to play out this year.
And
You're
then
gonna end up with Henry, and he'll end up winning the championship.
well, I would say, or exactly what I just foresaw happens, and I'll be so mad at myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Henry's is an exciting player. I can't wait to talk about him. But my number 8 is Kenyon Drake for the Arizona Cardinals, and he ended up rising pretty quickly on my list once I just kind of realized, oh yeah, he's the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals offense. That's an exciting offense. He already did pretty great in there in the last half of the season, and I'm ready for a full season take of that.
Yeah,
so I would be happy if I ended up with. I've dreamt about and Kenyon Drake and Eckler. That would be an exciting duo.
That'd be a good tandem.
That's something the Zip might look at, but yeah, no, I just suddenly got real excited at Drake because he was in Miami for a few years. We all knew, the fantasy community all knew what he had, but none of those coaches seemed to care or think that he was all that great. And now he's proved it. He's proved it already.
Yeah,
he's gonna have a whole season to finally prove it even more. And I expect some great things from him this year.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the Miami coaches. His coach, whenever he was in Miami, was Adam Gase, and that man doesn't seem to think Le'Veon Bell's any good. So
yeah, that Gase, man, he's an easy target. We could trash him easily.
Oh yeah, Kenyon Drake is exciting. He's not on my top 12, but I mean, he would be. I mean, he's one of the 15, like you said earlier, that I considered for this list. They traded for him late in the year, and he excelled. I remember I had him in a league, and I started him right after they traded him on Halloween. Traded for him on Halloween night. I had him starting, and that's the Thursday night game that he just went off.
Yeah, and I remember being jealous of that move and a little angry at you for being able to do it. But that was I would just say that was a good Zip move right there.
All right, so number 7 for me is Joe Mixon.
Ooh, hey, me too.
Okay, so we'll just get Mixon out of the way, and then
Mixon double.
But yeah, he's an exciting young running back. He's got all the skills to break tackles, to get the open field. He's a good combination of speed and power.
Mm-hmm.
And you started seeing more of it last year, especially with him as the full-time starter. You hope that Joe Burrow coming in is helpful for him. You hope that AJ Green can get healthy so they can take some pressure off of him.
Right, yeah. If that offense clicks, why wouldn't Joe Mixon be high?
And they're getting their last year they used a first round pick on an offensive tackle who got injured, and he should be healthy, so that should solidify the offensive line a little bit too.
Right, yeah. All these things, this could be the year that all of it kind of gels for a little bit.
Comes together.
Yeah, and because of that, Mixon is a very exciting prospect.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it all perfectly. I don't even know what I could add other than he's young, he's on a young team, and he has the control the running back situation. So, yeah, take it.
All right. So since that was both of our number 7, I'm just going to go right into my number 6 so we don't get off track. I have Aaron Jones here at number 6. I'm not afraid of Jamal Williams. I'm not afraid of A.J. Dillon. I believe that the A.J. Dillon drafting was just insurance because both Jones and Williams were drafted the same year. So they're both free agents the same year. So they needed to get somebody else that's going to be under contract longer than 2021 to save themselves, And Aaron Jones last year had 16 touchdowns. He caught almost 50 passes out of the backfield. And you'll notice something with 6 up is all people that catch out of the backfield because we do play in the 0.5 PPR league.
Yeah.
And if you play in a full PPR league, then you want the pass catching even more out of your running backs. Like I've said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. Matthew Berry started the movement, #free Aaron Jones. That man needs a full workload. And if Green Bay won't give it to him, then honestly, he's a free agent next year. He should leave. He should go somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that. If he does get freed, then Aaron Jones shoots up to number somewhere 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. He definitely would be higher than 11.
Yeah.
For me, number 6 is Cook,
Dalvin
Dalvin
Cook.
Cook, and that's maybe a little lower than most Cook placements. And this was just a thing where as I was making this list, I'd go like, oh, would I rather have this player or Cook? And every time I'd pick the other player, and he just fell to 6. And that's
Yeah.
one of those fate things, you know. I think it's probably got some injury, scary Terry's that got that infect my brain over him. But yeah, he was the top back for most of the season last year, and then he got injured, and
Yeah.
that's the scary thing. And you need him in the playoffs most. But Cook is worthy of his placement anywhere on this draft. But for me, he's at 6.
Well, Dalvin Cook for me is actually my number 5 player. And
Okay, cool.
so I'll just go right into that as well. He rushed for 1,100 yards. He put 13 touchdowns in. He caught 53 passes, another 500 yards receiving, and he only played 14. He is in an offense with a head coach who likes to run the ball, and he has his new offense coordinator taking over for Kevin Stefanski is Gary Kubiak, and Kubiak has done some great things with running backs in Denver whenever they won the Super Bowl in the couple years before that. I mean, he turned C.J. Anderson and Noshawn Moreno into something.
Oh, yeah.
He also was the head coach for the Texans, where Arian Foster, Steve Slayton, a slew of other backs were good. And so getting actually a good, talented player, probably one of the best talented backs he's had since Arian Foster with Dalvin Cook. If Dalvin Cook can stay healthy, he will finish higher than 5, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he definitely has the best running back situation, I feel like.
Yeah.
The team is built around running, and that's a good thing to have in a fantasy running back. But cool. Yeah, number 5 for me is the number 5 is Derrick Henry. I have him. He just is one of those exciting players that he hasn't quite found that consistency yet, but you've seen the games that are 30 plus points.
Oh yeah.
So you see that he could be like a CMC Barkley type if he found the consistency. And I'll hope for that, and that's why I would have him high on my list, is because I pick him because I could see that I want a full season of that, and that would be game changing.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm going to take him down as far as the CMC and Saquon type is he doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield as much, and they just added Darrington Evans in the draft who can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's been compared to Dion Lewis, who was their third down back for that reason.
True that.
But
I'll burger bet you on this one.
Oh,
you want a burger bet? I'll say Derrick Henry catches 40 passes.
40 passes? Yeah, I'll make that burger bet on that one.
Okay, we got ourselves a burger bet. We'll try to have one each episode.
Yeah, so what we're going to do with these burger bets, we're going to make all these bets during these episodes, try to do one each episode, and we're going to count them up at the end of the year. And come our draft time, we're going to the loser is going to buy the winner a burger, and we'll live stream it, we'll video it for you guys, or we'll do it on the podcast so you can get my joy of getting a free burger from Zip.
Yes. if you have that burger, I hope you enjoy it if you win it.
All right, so number 4 for me is Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is one of the most exciting players in the NFL. He's one of the ones that he is a CMC type, a Saquon type. He can do it in the running game. He can do it in the passing game. I think every year he's been in the NFL, he's caught 81 passes exactly. And he rushed for 797 yards and 5 touchdowns. He played in 14 games, but he only started in 9 of them. So I think those other 5 games were games that he was coming, in injured or coming in not 100% and just was getting out there when he could. I'm not worried about Latavius Murray because Alvin Kamara is far more talented. And
I forgot he was even on the team.
Oh, hey, Murray did pretty good last year in filling in for him.
That's how unafraid I am of him too.
But yeah, so number 4 for me is Alvin Kamara in that Saints offense.
Right, yeah. And yeah, we're at this point where these 4 backs, they can be switched around however, and then it would it could all be made sense. And so, but for me, I've got Elliott at 4. Uh,
Zeke?
and that's tough for me to even admit because Elliott is maybe the most consistent back we have on this whole list.
Yeah.
He seems to do it every season, just about at the same level, and he could easily be a top number 1 on this list. The thing that almost raised him higher was the McCarthy unknowns of like, well, okay, what did McCarthy learn? You hope that he grew as a coach. What is he going to bring to the table? Can he elevate Elliott's game even higher? So those mysteries have had me tempted to put him at number 3 or something, but he's 4, and he's going to be great. And I wouldn't blame you if you took him over any other of these backs that are coming up. But he's
Yeah.
at 4 for me. So what's your number 3? Is it Dirt?
Ezekiel Elliott is actually my number 3, so that's why I held off on talking. I didn't want to give all my points up.
Yeah, that makes
You're right then. Mike McCarthy said he took a year off the NFL to study the analytics of football and get in the new way that football is being played. And if that's true, then the offense that he's going to bring in is going to be good. It's going to be great for Zeke Elliott. And he's been, like you said, he's been one of the most consistent running backs in the league since he came in.
Mm-hmm.
And even in college, like he was one of those players that you watch in college with his little crop top running around that you were like, this guy's going to be good. He's going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL. And they are, even with that new coaching staff, they're still bringing back Kellen Moore as their offense coordinator. So, somebody who's familiar with the offense, their system doesn't have to change that much. Zeke should still be one of the dominant players in the NFL with Kellen Moore, with Mike McCarthy, with all the talent in the world. Hopefully he gets over the COVID-19 okay, perfectly fine, nothing, because he did catch it. He tested positive. I don't know how much symptoms he had, but...
Yeah, I read a report recently that he said he's feeling much better.
Good. Good, yes. So that's, I wouldn't be too worried about it by the time the season starts, but yeah, Zeke Elliott's number 3 for me.
Yep, solid number 3 too. My number 3 is your number 4 though, Alvin Kamara. And he jumped Elliott for me just due to the fact that last season we all know he was injured. He was slowed by knee and ankle and back injuries. Those are all very important parts of the human body. And he even though he had those issues, he still had 8 games over 15 points. And I'm just like, okay, I'm excited at 100% Kamara. If he can do that, what he did last season, while with those injuries, then he should duplicate it when he's full.
Yeah, and you get Drew Brees' swan song, so you get Drew Brees who wants another title.
Yep, they want to. Why not? Why wouldn't you?
So
they're gonna push for it, I bet. So Kamara for me is number 3.
Okay.
For those reasons.
So number 2 for me is Saquon Barkley. Now you're talking about talent. Dave Gettleman drafted Saquon Barkley, and before he did, they asked him, who he was looking for with the pick. And he said, I'm going to draft me a player that has gold jacket potential, saying he has Hall of Fame potential. And every game you watch Saquon Barkley play, that's what you see. You see Hall of Fame potential. If he can stay fully healthy for a whole season, you saw his rookie year. He was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a stat that said his rookie year, he led the NFL in missed tackles with 71 as a rookie.
Yeah.
And he only played in 13 games last year, but even in that 13 games, he still rushed for 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, still had 50 catches out of the backfield. You get Daniel Jones back for another year. You get a new head coach, a new offense coordinator. You hope that he can adjust well to their new offense.
Right. Jason Garrett, for sure. I thought about his inclusion in the whole mix because he's my number. Spoiler alert, Barkley's number 2 for me also. However, I considered putting him at 1 just to be shocking. But Barkley, what if let's imagine Jason Garrett brings over his Cowboys plan and he installs it and tweaks it however he needs to, and now we got Barkley Elliott. Imagine that. Whole new level Barkley. And that's what I got excited about. It's like, have we not seen top Barkley yet? I don't think we have.
It's only his 3rd year in the NFL. I don't think we have either.
It's almost impossible. So, yeah, there's that element to the pick that I love. Is this the year he kind of has his breakout year? His true, I am a superstar now. which he kind of already is, but you know what I mean, like Patrick Mahomes level or something.
You think that he could have a year kind of like what both of our number one player could have?
Exactly. Yeah. What is a Barkley CMC year like? That's exciting.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I could sit here and talk about how I love Saquon Barkley so much. He won me the championship in our main league his rookie year. So much that last year I had the number one pick, and I had CMC as my number one back all year long, but I had that fantasy love for the guy who helped me win the championship coming for his second year. I was like, I'm going to pass on Saquon with the number one pick, or pass on CMC with the number one pick, and I'm going to take Saquon. And that didn't work out for me so well with him getting injured, but I wasn't unhappy with it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. Yeah, you're going to be happy with one of these two backs for sure. But real quick, I'm just curious. How did you end up with him? And when you won the championship, did you draft him?
Yeah, I drafted him. I had the 7th pick overall, and by the time I got there was no receivers that I liked and all the running backs I liked, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I'll take the chance on the Giants rookie.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy to think of Barkley going at 7 this year.
Oh yeah, that won't happen.
No.
I mean, his ADP actually surprises me that it's 1-3, so he's going 3rd overall, which only tells me that Michael Thomas is going 2nd in average draft position.
Maybe people are a little spooked by the injuries too.
Yeah,
but I'm not. I would take him.
And then number one for us is the man that is going the number one overall, run CMC, Christian McCaffrey.
King number 1, CMC.
So I'm going to go over his stat line for you real quick.
Please.
He had 1,387 yards rushing with 15 touchdowns, another 115 receptions
115.
with 1,005 yards receiving and 4 more touchdowns.
Gosh.
He had 2,300 yards from scrimmage last year with 19 touchdowns.
You said 115 catches?
115 catches. So if you play half PPR, I mean, that's another 60 points if you, or 50 something points. If you play full point PPR, that's another 115 points for your guy.
Right. Yeah. And it's almost a guarantee that it will happen again. I hear that defense is young, which I'm expecting that defense to not be able to contain anyone, thus offense on the field all the time. Playing behind also with Teddy Bridgewater, who you've stated before, to check it down. He's not going to be too much of a risk taker. He'll look at Mr. CMC. Why not?
Yeah, no, Teddy Bridgewater does not turn the ball over. And so if his deep passes aren't available down the field, he's going to check it down to CMC. And even then, CMC's so talented, he can get open on the wheel routes. He can get open on the screens, and he can make things happen between the tackles too. I don't see many ways, unless the Carolina Panthers offensive line just totally flops, that CMC doesn't repeat as the number one back this year. I mean, he's so young. He had that mega deal signed, so he's locked up for a while. He doesn't have to worry about his contract. He's the number one player. I saw a stat that was in goal line. He had 81% of the Panthers goal line work. Nice. So there's nobody else on that team that's gonna take carries from him. I actually have him, just so you guys know, in full point PPR. I have him in a dynasty league. It's a 16-team dynasty league that we play in, and it's full point PPR. And I have Christian McCaffrey. And so those games where he was blowing up with like 40 points and whatnot, they were actually like 50 points for me, 55 points.
Yeah,
I would say I have him paired with Aaron Jones, and I had a couple weeks where both of those players had 50 points.
Yeah, I remember that. We were all pretty salty about that. I almost got CMC from you in that league. Remember that trade? We were kind of hashing something out. It was close.
Well, I'm happy I didn't do it, because now he's probably one of the people that are untouchable on that team.
For sure. I mean, he should have been untouchable. I was surprised I even got close. I mean, I was going to give up quite a bit, but I was willing to do it.
Yep. All right.
So that's our top list, man. CMC number 1. Wild man he'll be this season.
All right, yeah, that wraps up our top 12. And now for the coming episodes, we are going to be going over, we're going to pair some of these together. I don't think we can do full episodes based off each of these things, but we're going to go over some sleepers with you guys, some value picks, people that will probably that we think will outperform their IDP or ADP, not IDP. We're going to do busts, which players that will not perform their ADP. And did I say breakouts already?
If you did, I didn't hear it.
Okay, so we're going to do breakouts too. We're going to get into some rookies for you guys too, because our top 12s didn't have many of them. So we got some stuff lined up for you. Training camp should be starting soon, so we're going to have some fun with that. And we do have one fan question this week, finally.
We have a fan question. Oh.
This one comes from Kyle in Salem, Oregon. He wants to know if we think that Antonio Brown will be signed because his talent, or does his talent overweigh the distraction? So what do you think? Will Antonio Brown find a team this year?
Well, Kyle, I can't say yes or no because anything could happen. I guess I'd lean towards no. That's my gut feeling, but also I guess it all really probably depends on his legal stuff. He's burned a lot of bridges, and that's, I don't know if, like, I guess maybe if some massive injury happens to a team, there's all sorts of things that could happen to lead to a team being desperate enough to give him a call. But
I think there's a possibility, and it's going to be one of two teams that sign him. It's going to be either the Seahawks or the Ravens. And the thing about those two teams, they each have coaches that can deal with the big personality and can kind of keep them in check.
Yeah.
And, the Seahawks, Pete Carroll doesn't really care as much about your legal trouble as long as you don't bring it to the team and it's not too, overpowering for the team.
Yeah.
In the Ravens, because Harbaugh's another one, he can handle, he's a really good locker room guy with his players, and it probably helps that Antonio Brown's cousin plays for the Ravens. Marquise Brown's his cousin.
Yeah.
So, you have somebody who will vouch for him, and maybe your cousin, maybe playing with your cousin will keep you in check a little bit, because that's probably a dream growing up playing football together. Now you can do it on the biggest stage in the world together.
Yeah. Out of those two teams, I would love to see that on the Ravens. That would be exciting.
Yeah, and that's what we always say with Lamar Jackson, if he can get some help with receiving. And Antonio Brown was the best receiver in football for many years.
Yeah, he probably still has it too. He's only 31. He's
only 31?
I think so.
Oh, wow. He still has it then if he's only 31.
I could be wrong on that.
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, he's one of those players that he's been doing it for so long, you just kind of assume he's older.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, so all right, go ahead and wraps up our show. If you guys want to follow us on Twitter, you can get me at Dirt Shingles on Twitter and on Instagram. I just created an Instagram account. Please. Oh, and you can follow Zip now. He go ahead and went and started a Twitter.
I did. I made a Twitter.
Where can they follow you at?
Oh, it's my name. I got lucky. Scott Zipperman.
Okay, so go ahead and get him at Scott Zipperman. Please like the podcast, subscribe on Apple, listen to it on Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. We'll be back every Monday with a new episode. You guys have a great day.
Oh, yeah, real quick. Antonio Brown is 32. He just had a birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Antonio Brown.
You're staying out of trouble.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Good night.
You like fantasy, you like football, so come check out something